Hello, so for this lesson we are going to subtract mixed numbers with regrouping. So let's go ahead and start with the first example. For this one we're going to be doing 5 1/3 minus 1 and 2/3. Now, the first thing you might notice when you see these fractions right here being subtracted is that you are not able to subtract 2 out of the 1, right? If you see this 2 right here, it's bigger than the 1 right here. So you cannot subtract 2 out of 1. So we're going to be doing the same exact thing as you would do when you are subtracting irregular numbers. We are going to borrow, right? We're going to be borrowing from the whole number right here. Okay, for this one, for example, we have 1/3. We need to borrow 1 from the 5. If we borrow 1 from the 5 is no longer a 5. It has to be a 4. Okay, now how can I add the 1 to the 1/3? Okay, I cannot just go ahead and add a 1, because if I add a 1, it's going to be 2/3, and that is not correct. Okay, remember that a 1 in fraction form looks like any fraction and that has a numerator and denominator to be the same. For example, 2/2, for example, 3/3, 4/4. All of these fractions right here mean 1. If you actually divide them, if you actually represent them in a model, you're going to see that it means 1 whole. So, saying that, we're going to be adding a 1 to the 1/3 in fraction form. Okay, to make it easier, we're going to be using the number 3 that we have right here, which is the denominator, as the fraction. Okay, we're going to be using, for this one, 3/3, and we're going to add it to this fraction right here. Okay, so once we add it, we're going to have 3 plus 1, that's going to make 4. So my final fraction right here, it's going to be 4/3. This no longer works. The fraction that we have is 4/3. Okay, and our whole number is now 4. Now we get to subtract. We get to subtract 4 minus 2, which 4 minus 2 gives you 2. You keep the same denominator, which is 3. Now you go ahead and subtract whole numbers. 4 minus 1, that makes 3. And this is your final answer. Let's go ahead and do another example. Let's see if we can solve this one. Try it with me. We have 3 1/4. If you notice, I leave a space in between the whole number and the fraction. We usually do not do that when we write mixed numbers, but since we are subtracting and I like to put the fraction in the middle, I leave a space. Okay, and then I subtract this 2/4. So first thing we notice, how do I know I need to regroup? Well, I know I need to regroup because I see that the numerator right here is smaller than this one. It's less than the 2 that I have on the bottom. Okay, so that means I have to borrow. Okay, I need to ask the 3 to give me a whole, so I can make this fraction available to make a subtraction there. Okay, so we are going to ask the 3 to give us a 1. This is no longer a 3. If you guess it correct, yes, this is now a 2. So how can I add the 1 that I borrow from the 3 to the 1/4? I can add it using a fraction. Remember the fraction, that means 1 is the one that has the same number in the numerator and the denominator. So in this case, I have a 4 as a denominator, so I have to use 4/4. Okay, the fraction that you use in the middle right here, the one I put in the middle to add to this one, the whole, I always use the denominator that I have in these two fractions to make the fraction right here. Okay, I cannot be putting any other random fraction. It has to be the one that has the same denominator. So for this one, it's a 4. So 4/4. Now I get to add this fraction. So 4 plus 1, and that makes a 5/4. Now I can subtract. This no longer are going to be used, so I'm going to mark them like this. Now 5/4 minus 2/4. 5 minus 2. Remember, you only subtract numerators. Do not subtract denominators. Just keep them the same. 5 minus 2, that gives you 3. Denominator is 4. Now you get to subtract the whole numbers. In this case, you have 2 minus 2. That will give you a 0, right? That will be 0 and 3/4. We usually do not write the 0 when we do not have a whole number, so we can keep it just like that. 3/4 will be your final answer.